Hello and welcome to episode 76 of the Foundry Roundtable, a podcast exclusively covering the Foundry for Star Trek Online. I'm your tame Foundry author, Drogan1701. With me is the not-so-tame Greendragoon and the outright crazy Markhawkman.
Rar.
And our guest tonight, Paxfederetica and HippieJohn.
Hey.
Now, tonight, we are going to be doing a live playthrough of Paxfederetica's latest mission, which is called Valley of the Shadow 3, and is actually subtitled, though it's not in the mission title proper as far as the game is concerned. It's subtitled Fear No Evil. Pax, for the record here, why don't you tell everyone what your @ handle is?
Okay. At NCC-89471.
Excellent. But before we get started with that, we have really big news. Another round of really big news after last week's really big news. And we love that we keep getting these awesome things to talk to you about. More Foundry additions. This time, Zeronius Rex. We finally know what she was staying late after work to put in the Foundry for us. Just a laundry list of stuff. So let's go through it here. The Scientist Jacket for the Foundry, for males and females. This is something that was on one of the original Romulan bridge officers that she's wearing when you first pick her up. And it has been available in the Foundry for Romulan females before now, but now it's available for others as well, though I think there's some bugs with it and it's not quite there for everyone.
It's not showing up on non-Romulan females, although it is showing up on males for everyone.
Yeah. Let's see. Going down the patch notes here, we have adding Salt Vampire male hairstyle to the Foundry, which I haven't been able to find yet. I don't know if anybody else has.
Wait, they have their own hairstyle? That's weird.
What was in the patch notes.
Huh.
But yeah, I haven't been able to find that one. Let's see. Updating species on a couple Tholian space NPC encounters to be alien, which exists, and instead of Tholian, which doesn't. I think this goes with the sort of categories that these NPC groups are in.
Yeah.
Female changelings are now actually female. Now, honestly, this are ground NPC contacts. I didn't actually know that we had these before, if we actually did. But there are male and female shapeshifters in there.
The Dominion captain mobs have, for most of the Foundry's history, had at least a chance to spawn a changeling as the leader of the group.
But did we always have them in the single NPC contacts?
I don't want to say maybe. I don't know. When I was scanning through, there was a number of things I was like, did we have that before?
Because, I think that they may have gotten added in the same time we got the single NPC contacts for all of the Jim Hadar.
That's possible. Speaking of NPC contacts, we have just a million new ones. A lot of beachgoers from Ryza with full regalia, as far as that goes.
And they're all sorted by species.
Yeah. Then we also have a whole bunch from the Delta Quadrant. Just about every species you could name. The Hazari, the Okampa, the Kazon. Well, there's only one Kazon guy, but still, he's there. Hierarchy, Malon, all kinds of them. And then we also have the NPC group combat mobs to go with that. Let's see. On ground, we have Kobali. Actually, I don't think we have Kobali on ground.
Yes, we have Kobali on ground.
We have Kobali on ground.
And they are friendly.
They're friendlies. Because we have them in space, too, I believe. No, space is where we don't have them. That's right.
But yeah, it's cool because as ground mobs, they're one of the... they're the first friendly ground mob that doesn't use phaser or disruptor.
Ah. That's good to know.
Wait, what do the Kobali use? Polaron?
Yeah, they use Polaron.
So if you need
That's
your
actually pretty
ground mobs to shoot purple, that's who you go for.
That might be good for friendly
Well, I
Jem'Hadar.
did have
too.
an idea that, exactly.
Yeah, friendly Jem'Hadar.
Yep.
Let's see. Ground NPC groups. We also got Bluegill, which are the bugs from the Bug Hunt mission. I believe there is these guys exist in the lore, but I'm not going to spoil it because I'm not entirely sure about it because I haven't played that mission. So we'll leave out that spoiler. But we also
from what I've
have
heard,
shush. No spoiler. We have Vodwar, of course, because they play a big role in the expansion. Vodwar enemy groups, they're fairly strong and quite fun, I think.
And they use projectile weapons,
Yes, projectile weapons.
which is a first for the Foundry. And I'm sure there's more than a few Foundry authors who can find a use for that.
Yeah. We also have NPC groups for space. Kazon Benthan, which are friendly. Vodwar and Borg Cooperative, which is very cool. And we have lots of NPC ships to go with that. So even for the ones where there's not a specific combat group to go with it, we can do some reskinning now. Now, Zero also added non-combat KDF, Fed, and Space NPC groups. So they will spawn, and they won't fight anybody. You can't fight them because they're friendly to you, and no one will attack them. And they'll just essentially sit there, or you can actually do them with patrols, and they won't fight anything. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So you can escort something, then it won't stop to fight.
Which can be good or
And
bad.
yeah, absolutely. Kind of depends on what you need it for. Let's see. She also added Rogue KDF and Fed Space NPCs. In-ground NPCs, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
These guys will essentially... they're Feds and KDFs, and they will attack anybody. They're not friendly.
Very handy.
So, if you're in the middle of Federation Civil War or Klingon Civil War, you will no longer have to reskin somebody else.
That's actually pretty good because Klingons especially have been wanting to be able to, kill other Klingons
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
who knows how long.
Yeah, I mean, for Feds, at least we had the Mirror Universe, which we could reskin, but yeah, it's really nice to have it.
And that's what we used for Purity, because of course that's a major part of Purity is that series was fighting amongst each other in the Federation.
This will be very useful for my planned Klingon trilogy.
Always trilogies with you.
There were a few other little things I noticed in there. There were some Anteater NPCs, which I'm not quite sure where those were from.
They're six-eyed, so I think they're a day
Are
with
they a
three
new Romulus
species.
thing?
Yeah.
It wasn't something I had remembered from anywhere else. And the other thing I noticed is that we got, and actually I haven't even gotten to the costume creator yet, but one of the little things is that we got Bajoran comm badges, which were missing before.
Nice.
During the last round of asset additions for the costume creator, we got Bajoran uniforms, but no communicators. That has been fixed. Elsewhere in the costume creator are the Zindi uniforms that were added to the Low-Buy store, as well as uniforms and clothing from the Kobali, Hazari, Okampa, Talaxian, and the Delta Quadrant rep armor, which appears to be missing a helmet at the moment.
I'm guessing from what I was kind of looking at it, and from what I can tell, it also seems to be missing a pair of gloves.
Yes, I did notice that. And one thing that I'm very excited about, which is the Intel uniforms, which are going to be... I'm not sure if they're coming with the bridge officers or not, whether they'll be playable or not, whether you'll be able to put them on your captain or not. But I do know that there's a few of them in-game when you meet some intelligence officers at the social hub on the Dyson Sphere. They're very cool looking.
Yep.
And if you've seen Zeronius Rex tweeting her new character, Smugosaurus, that she's using that uniform in a very cool way.
I'm slightly disappointed that Smuckosaurus is not a giant T-Rex.
Well, her companion, Mr. Slithers, is a Gorn, so
It's a step in the right direction.
yes. Zero is fast becoming one of our favorite people ever. If she wasn't already.
Well, we had to have a Godzilla joke in there somewhere, right?
All right, well, let's turn our attention to the mission here.
Yeah.
Now, I believe this is Valley of the Shadow 3. It's obviously part 3 of a series that's meant for Romulan characters. Fed Romulans at the moment. Pax, you said that if and when they put the new Romulus maps themselves in, you plan to put those into your missions and then port them over to be available as KDF Romulans as well.
Yeah.
So we don't know if or when that will happen, I'm afraid. So can you kind of give us a rundown of the series?
Okay, well, in part 1, you're sent by Proconsul Datan on a secret diplomatic mission to a world that has been living under Romulan rule for the past 60 years. The resistance on that world has reached out to the Romulan Republic for assistance. So you go there to kind of get the lay of the land. And while you're there, you find evidence of a weapon of mass destruction, basically a Death Star type doomsday weapon that is in development by the Tal Shiar that they're considering using against this planet. And in part 2, you go off looking for this weapon, and you eventually find it. It turns out to be a satellite-based Thaleron weapon platform. And the mission ends. Colonel Hakiv, who I've by the way, as you may have noticed, I've rewritten parts 2 and 3 to take Sela out and basically replace her dialogue with Hakiv and Hakiv with some of the other characters. But anyway, part 2 ends with them trying to basically bully the new Romulan government into submission, and it ends with them sending a full-scale invasion fleet. And that's where part 3, it basically picks up right where part 2 leaves off.
All right. Well, all the rest of you have taken the mission. We're on New Romulus where it starts, so I'm going to load it up here and read what it says.
Maybe whoever's got it on screen there can give us the dialogue.
Yep.
Okay.
Previously in Star Trek Online. Imperials, Hirogen, Alachi. That's just fine. That's just the first wave.
That's just the first wave, Commander.
At least 2 more waves reinforcements inbound. It's a full-scale invasion.
This is it, people.
We'll probably be doing that all night. We always do when we do one of these things. So here's the captain saying this.
Okay.
Everything we've fought for since Virenat, and our allies since Kittimer, our freedom, our homeworld, and our new way of life, it's all coming down to this.
And Shabbat says, and it will be a glorious battle indeed. Today is a good day to die.
I myself would prefer to survive this, Captain.
It's a Romulan thing to say. But if we must die here in order to protect all that we hold dear, then so be it.
And then Oslin calls for red alert, all hands to battle stations.
I should say these 2 characters, Oslin and what was the other guy? The Klingon guy? These are your allies.
Those are versions of 2 of my own tunes.
You heard the lady. Battle stations.
Go to the staging area on New Romulus, and then look for an interactable crate near the stairs, leading to the embassy entrance. This is the doorway to begin the mission.
And now I will show you. I'll have to lead you to it. It isn't that far from here.
Say all of us brought Romulan characters except for Dragoon, who does not have one.
I have one.
I-
It's just level 16.
All
Except for
right.
my.
Okay. Checking to make sure that we are on normal difficulty.
I,
All right.
Five people in a big space battle.
Yeah.
Everybody begin.
Hilarious.
And now the conclusion.
5 people in a giant space battle. This is going to be ridiculous. It's going to
So,
ramp up.
loading screen discussions. When you first started working on these packs, did you have a trilogy in mind from the beginning, or did it sort of balloon to that?
I had it in mind from the beginning.
I have a question then. Having it in mind from the beginning when you were writing it, did you look for specific, beats in the story where you could come to an exciting conclusion like you did with part 2, how, we're loading right into a space battle with part 3 and things like that? Did you look for moments like that?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I hear it.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot of bad guys.
and still loading.
Don't use AoE skills. Attract too much attention.
A lot of bad guys, but also you can see a lot of allies too. Hunt mask Dreadnought. I've never seen one of those.
Someone has their volume way up, and I cannot hear a thing on Twitter. Or on... There we go.
There we
on
go.
Skype.
Volume was way up there.
My volume was not way up
yet.
but Skype is just really stupid.
What's that?
I think it was an extension of our problem with hearing the music that he's been playing louder than he actually has it set.
Ah.
Because I'm not saying anything and I guess it turns up the audio.
My
Yeah.
shields.
And unfortunately, it seems that all my tray mapping got blown away somehow.
Uh-oh.
So I'm
Oh, and there I'm dead.
thinking here weakened.
Come on. Hazard emitters. There.
So Pax,
I
I have
haven't
to
even
ask.
finished loading yet.
Pax, I have to ask. How much planning for groups did you do in this mission?
None?
Yeah.
I mean, how many of us ever really think about setting up our missions for group play?
It's not designed with that in mind for me, but it's something I have been trying to give more thought to lately, especially with multi-person tests.
Well, in one of mine, I carefully went through and set up all of the different possible NPC allies to have, special ship skins, even though you wouldn't normally have them all show up for a single player.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much a given for me.
Good golly, that's a lot of ships there. Sorry.
Well, we're just gonna have to do something
how many,
about that.
How many groups do you have here?
3 waves of, I think, 5 mobs each.
5 mobs, 5 people.
Well,
That's
5
wow.
enemy mobs, but also
Yeah,
I
that's
also
right.
have a bunch
But
of
also some
friendly
friendlies.
mobs.
I think they may all be dead.
Unfortunately, they
I see
No, they're-
one Tavaro. 2 Tavaros.
Two Devaros.
I can't believe I'm managing to stay alive.
Well, I'm sticking to the.
Just because, unlike last time, we do not have it set on elite.
Load fast.
You remember that from last time we tried
Oh, that was
live stream.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
We eventually made it.
Oh look, here come more. Oh my
Still loading.
goodness.
Just got up to 60.
Oh, we'll see you eventually.
Actually.
I don't like it when my shields go down that quickly.
And of course, we don't have access to the new Romulus space map, so you've had to make sort of an approximation here.
Yeah. So I had to make the kind of this reasonable facsimile of the new Romulus space map for this one. And I also did it in part 2. If for some reason we don't get the new Romulus space map in the next bunch of new maps we get, I'll probably just share the settings for this map on the Starbase UGC forums.
This is a
it's
really
pretty
good,
reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a pretty good approximation.
The only thing I might do is spread around some nebula around the planet to kind of simulate that radiation
effect.
halo it has, or that solar wind
Right.
effect.
Oh, here's a scimitar.
That's the nice part about getting teams in there, is that you can actually get dreadnoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Abdul Rahim in the chat room is asking why is it difficult to balance for players. And I say it's not.
Multiplayers.
It's difficult because how do you make it more difficult for single players? Is you add more mobs, right? Or add higher value mobs, but it's a bit different for multiple players because the groups change.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have a pop-up dialogue.
Yep.
Somebody's scooting through them.
Sorry.
Oh my goodness,
Okay.
Pax's ship is in trouble.
Sort of.
if we fail to save Pax, does that mean his his player character ceases to exist?
Maybe.
This is the problem when the author puts himself in the mission, and you're playing with the
Well.
author. All right, dialogue here. No response from the PAX commander. In fact, I'm not reading any life signs aboard. It appears that the ship's escape pods have been jettisoned. Commander, their warp core is going crit. And it explodes. The other two ships on the scene are taking in the escape pods, Commander. Both vessels are hailing us, as is the Hortog. Who do we want to answer first? Got Starfleet, Klingon, and Republic.
Well, you know me, I say answer the Klingons.
All right, we'll answer the Klingon. You can read the Klingon dialogue.
Let me find it. It's taken a moment. Kapla! Not since Klotch del Kabrak has the Klingon Empire dealt such a devastating blow to the Romulan Star Empire and their lapdogs. Songs will be sung of this day for generations to come.
All right, we can talk to the other guys too. Let's answer the Starfleet hail.
The Pax. I can't believe she's gone. She'd be in service for over a quarter century. One of the finest ships in Starfleet.
We're sorry for the loss of your ship, Captain. What are your casualties?
I'll have to call the roll in order to get an accurate count, but we did lose a lot of people in that battle. I'm told the Lexington took quite a beating too. Her captain and first officer are both injured and are now in sickbay. They'll live, but for now neither one is fit to return to duty. So that leaves me in command. In any case, we did what we had to. We held against the Imperial fleet. The Pax went out as well as could be expected. I just hope Starfleet bears that in mind when choosing her successor.
Spoiler alert, they do. Or at least I do.
You did.
In game, Captain Oslin is one of my tunes, and her flagship is the Odyssey-class Paxfederetica. What we just saw blow up here is her predecessor.
All right, let's talk to the Republic Warbird. This is Commander Tiaru Jarok of the Warbird Varanax. It is regrettable that we could not arrive sooner. Nonetheless, we have earned a great victory today, owing mainly to you and your crew.
So this is supposed to be the to-be captain of the Lisette, correct?
Correct.
Nice.
But before she gets the Lisette, right?
Yeah.
The proconsul, is he safe?
Is he safe?
Datan is here aboard the Varanax. He's still reeling from the stress, but the ship's physicians tell me he should be fine. Likewise for Admiral Zashek and Ambassador Belor. Both are safely aboard, and I will return all three of them to the command center on Mulrahan as soon as they are declared fit. All right, and continuing on. Additional reinforcements are now entering the system, Commander. Republic, Federation, and Klingon. They were too late to stop the Imperial attack, but at least they should make Hakiv think twice about trying another one.
Address Oslin and Chekhov.
Shavak.
Javak.
Chavak.
Not Chekhov.
You gotta say it in Klingon manner. Chavak.
Shavak.
And the captain says, "The people of the Romulan Republic are grateful to both of you. Without your assistance, this day may well have been the Republic's last."
There's a disturbance on the bridge. This day isn't over, Captain, but it has already seen the so-called Republic show its true colors for all Romulans to see. You talk of unity amongst our people, and then you destroy an entire fleet of ships full of them.
You didn't send those ships here in any spirit of unity. You sent them to conquer.
Those ships carried over 10,000 of the very people you claim to claim cannot survive anymore.
Any losses.
But that didn't stop you from slaughtering those 10,000, did it? Face facts, Captain. As long as your so-called Republic exists, there will be no unity. Only a war for the soul and the future of our people. Seal and I disagree about much, but not that the Tal Shiar must and will win this war by any means necessary. If that means thousands, millions, or even billions more will die, so be it.
Billions? Billions died with Hobus. If billions more die in this war, our people won't have a soul or a future.
It's not just our people that you're putting in jeopardy. Those billions will include your allies in the Federation and Klingon empires. And they'll begin with the savages you incite to rebellion on Nevea 4.
I've already warned you. Using that Thaleron weapon won't deter the Republic. All it will do is provoke our allies.
We'll see about that, Starbuck, or Captain. When all the Nevaeans have to show for their defiance is an instant and total oblivion, we'll see.
End transmission.
As you might have guessed, as you might have surmised from there, that dialogue is what I had originally written for Sela.
I have to say your dialogue's pretty polished so far. It's good stuff.
All right,
Yeah, it works pretty good, even if it's Hakiv instead of Sela.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine, sort of that megalomaniacal villain, you probably didn't have to change too much.
Yeah.
Who wants to be Datan? Nobody.
I can't be
I guess
Datan.
I'll
I
be
was just
Datan.
Akiv.
You were just Hakeem. It was a good
Vice
Hakeem voice.
Admiral, this is the Tan. There's no time to waste. You must get to Neve 4 quickly and stop the Tal Shiar from using that Thaleron weapon. Hakiv means to make an example of the Nevaeans. Destroy their world in order to bully ours into handing ours over. We cannot allow that to happen.
Agreed.
Find the satellites, capture them if you can, or destroy them if you must. Though I'd much prefer to have physical proof of their existence to give to our allies, I won't put the Nevaeans in any further jeopardy to do so. May the elements continue to be in your favor, Commander. The Tan out.
End transmission. Course plotted to Neve 4, Commander. Maximum warp. Neve 4, of course, was the planet that we went to in the very first mission in this series.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're
And
headed
as
back.
I mentioned before, it's Yavin spelled backwards. It's kind of an allusion to the Doomsday weapon.
Speaking of
Yep.
Star Wars reference,
Now
I think this is a trap.
Now to see how long it takes for this one to load.
This is so definitely a trap. We're flying
Well,
into a trap.
I have done something fairly interesting with this second map, as you will see. Basically what I did was I took the cloak breaking bug and actually incorporated it into the design of the mission.
Ooh.
Nice.
Okay, that's something I'm going to have to see.
So Sir Boulevard is saying that Commander Jarek is impossible to replicate in the Foundry completely. So I don't know, maybe she has some facial features or something that
I don't know. It wasn't a bad.
we don't
I
quite
mean,
have. Yeah, I didn't notice anything.
Yeah, it looked like Jarek to me.
I think that, like Tovin Kev, she has her own facial geometry. I think all of the major NPCs do, actually. Like, instead of, Humanoid 1 or whatever, she probably has, like, complexion Jarok, Tiaro Jarok, like Tovin Kev does. He's got the complexion Tovin Kev. So
Yeah, because one thing I'd noticed about all of the bridge officers you get in the Romulan storyline, they all have special costume stuff, too.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, we're loaded.
We are loaded. As we suspected, clearly the Tal Shiar have anticipated our arrival, Commander. They've assembled another massive fleet to blockade the planet.
Where are they getting all these fleets?
I know, right?
Massive, massive shipbuilding. Maybe they have a Starforge.
Maybe. Should have hung
Have
on
they
to the
detected
bolt.
us yet? If they have, they're not letting on, Commander. None of the blockade ships have broken formation.
Commander, I'm picking up a strong periodic tachyon pulse emanating from Neve 4. The Tal Shiar must have modified the planetary sensor grid to emit the pulse. Any cloaked ship passing through the pulse will immediately be exposed.
Any sign of the Thaleron satellites?
None, Commander. If they were in orbit and cloaked, the tachyon pulses would have given away their presence by now. That they haven't suggests that the Tal Shiar have yet to deploy the satellites.
So we may be able to catch them in the act.
Yes, that is possible. Or rather, it would be, if not for the Imperial blockade before us. Undoubtedly, will be reassigned to protect the satellites as they are deployed.
This is good. We can ask for suggestions of our engineers, science, and tactical officers. So who do we want to ask?
Definitely got to science the science.
Science the science. I like it.
Very well, Mr. Dragoon. Science the science.
We should be able to recloak a few seconds after each pulse. That would allow us to approach the planet undetected for a short time. But if we were too close to one of the blockade ships when the next pulse hits...
Okay, let's talk to the engineer.
We should maximize power to shields, Commander. If we're detected, we can expect to come under heavy fire very quickly from multiple vectors.
And tactical.
There are some narrow gaps in the blockade's coverage. If we take it slowly, we may be able to slip between the Imperial squadrons unnoticed, even without the benefit of a cloak.
Well, that's good for you, Dragoon.
I was going to say, I don't have a cloak.
You don't.
Yeah.
Oh.
Uh-oh, I just froze up.
Uh-oh.
My PC, everything.
You can come back in and catch up to us.
Yeah, I'm gonna restart. I'll be back in a few minutes.
You've been hit by a tachyon pulse.
That definitely presents some challenges.
Okay, so the gaps...
Especially if we know that there are enemies out there. There's one. Another Tachyon Pulse Commander.
See, I'm going through and hitting them all for you.
Be set on reach markers.
Oh, they detected me.
Uh-oh. I guess we have to protect the Federation guy.
This is something similar to what I do in Ghosts of War Part 2 when you have to slip your shuttlecraft through a bunch of mobs guarding a station.
Yeah, I had problems with that one too.
Stealth is not your strong suit.
You know,
Then again, maybe with these Tier 6 intelligence ships that are supposed to be big on stealth, maybe you can actually... Maybe you can actually fare better with
Dragoon
rogues.
is one of those we come in peace, shoot to kill types.
not now, I'm killing.
Okay, we saved the Federation guy. Pick cloak again.
Not that he deserves it.
I know, right?
Barging headlong into the... Alright, we gotta approach the planet. Within hailing range of the Nevain Resistance Compound, Commander. Raise General Brecca. Encrypted channel. No response. That doesn't bode well.
So I'm just going to point out that the all these stage directions are actually what the yellow text is for.
Yeah, that's probably where I'd put it.
Commander, I'm picking up heavy weapons fire throughout the compound in multiple enemy life signs: Romulan, Reman, Hirogen, Alachi. If these readings are correct, the Tal Shiar have breached the tunnels. Remans?
Need an S on your Remans there. Well, maybe. Can work without it. Anyway.
Well, each of the 4 words is used as a collective plural. Put an S on those usually.
After all those years, the Nevaeans managed to keep them out. How is that possible?
I don't know, Commander, but General Brecca and his people will need our help if they or their cause is going to survive. Thalaran weapons or no.
Understood. I will lead a counter-assault team. Let's wait here a moment for Pax to return before we go.
Yeah,
I'm just logging back in now.
It may put you right back on our team.
hopefully.
Yeah.
So if Dragoon had not been barging through everything, I think it would have been a great use of that cloaking mechanic. But you never know the
Personally,
playstyles
I
of
would've-
people who are going to play your mission.
I would have gone with the engineer officer's suggestion and skipped the cloak and just made everything explode. I mean, we have a reason to make the Tal Shiar explode anyways.
Yeah, I was going to say, all these modules are spread out far enough you could pretty much clean through them.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Now, you have some directions here for us. He says that suggested equipment for yourself or your away team are rebreathers or EV suits. Now, have you actually put one of the space volumes in there to require it, or is it just
No.
for RP?
Actually, it's because of the Alachi ground mobs. There's that one stupid crawler thing that spews poison gas.
Okay, I'm back.
This is what the Soleil suit.
It puts you right back on our team.
Awesome. Right next to it.
Okay.
Hippie, you went quiet again.
Hello.
Gradually getting louder. All right,
Okay,
I'll head down to the surface now. Yep.
Right to transport.
And also, as you'll notice, this time we're going... This is another map that I used before. This time we're going through it in the opposite direction. We start out in the engine room and work our way back to the command center.
Nice.
I remember how incredibly long the hallways were on this map.
Well, there is a reason for it. I actually picked this map out with this particular, with part 3 in mind, as you will soon see why.
They need to make more EV suits with the Reg HP mods. I just looked at my Soleil suit and realized it has absolutely no regeneration whatsoever.
Given it's not desirable in anything outside of EV. It's not like you're going to pick it as main armor.
If you're a lifetimer, those combat EV suits are better.
Okay, we had a post from Zero on the forums. She says she's seen a request for pre-made NPCs in EV suits or pre-made EV suit costumes, something like that, and she says that she will do that tonight. She says it's a stopgap until she can get them working in the regular costume editor. She's been trying to make sure that they add everything, but some things are non-trivial. In other words, they take time.
That's fair. The funny thing, I'm pretty sure that the reason the EV suits are such a pain is because the helmets are actually part of the chest gear. Which means that a whole lot of things have to happen together correctly in order to make it work.
I'm on the other side here.
Right. Ah, there she is. This is Major Herev.
Check all the reactors for damage. If one of them blows, they'll all blow.
Okay.
And of course us with it.
Check the
And the rest of
reactors.
the facility.
Captain, are we ever glad to see you?
What's your status?
As you've no doubt guessed now, these tunnels are crawling with Alachi. They have come in without warning and started fighting our people on every level. That's just the start. We've also had reports of Hirogen roaming the corridors, picking off any of our soldiers the Alachi missed.
What about the Tal Shiar themselves?
As far as I know, they're focused on trying to take the command center. Capture or kill General Brecca and Colonel Valeg.
Benog.
If they're able to do that, I hate to say that the resistance is finished. But you know Tal Shiar interrogation methods as well as I. Excuse me. Losing our base of operations would be bad enough, but if they get our senior leadership too, it'll just be a matter of time before they know everything about us.
How did the Tal Shiar manage to breach your tunnels?
I wish I knew. After our little incursion into the Imperial compound last time you were here, General Rebecca ordered that passageway permanently sealed off to keep the Tal Shiar from using it.
Who carried out Brecca's orders?
Major Toth. He's in
Troth.
charge. Troth. This is going to make you mad at all the names I mispronounce.
Yeah.
He's in charge of the tunnel security. He said he's not only sealed off the passageway, but camouflaged the breach so well that the Tal Shiar wouldn't know it existed. I guess he was wrong.
I have an idea about that.
Really? What would that be?
Let's just say, I hope I'm wrong. And then we go to, how can we help?
My techs and I can handle the reactors. Worst comes to worst, they'll blow themselves.
We'll blow them ourselves.
We'll blow them ourselves and try to take as many Tal Shiar and their thugs with us as we can. Obviously, we'd rather not have to do that. But right now, we're outnumbered and outgunned down here. So we can use every additional soldier we can get.
You want us to help you take back the tunnels?
This level, at least. Aside from the reactors, our command center and infirmary are here. All of our most critical facilities. Hold this level, and the resistance will still have a fighting chance.
Very well.
So, Pax, I wanted to give you a really big thumbs up there. In all of your dialogues that have a lot of exposition, you're giving the player an option to skip it if it's like, you know, how do we help? What do we move on to next? It's really cool.
Thank you.
It doesn't feel like very long and drawn out exposition either. You definitely get us the vital info that we need without too much fluff.
Part one is where I got most of my drawn out exposition out of the way in part one.
So the walls here, are those the foundation blocks?
It
Yeah.
looks it.
Yeah.
I noticed they flicker occasionally. It looks like you accidentally put 2 or 3 sets of foundation blocks.
Yeah, it probably has some overlap.
I've been.
It's hard to find all those sometimes
I-
when you get some overlaps.
I usually set them about 500ths apart or 5,000th apart.
Yeah, I do about 1/100, like 0.00.
0.001, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of mobs that do that, where they have the beam out animation instead of the beam in animation.
Yeah,
I've never
don't
paid
the
attention to
Hirogen typically use a decloak animation?
Well, that was fun.
So I don't know why, but this super long hallway was just ridiculous amounts of fun.
It was.
Like I
maybe-
said, I chose this map with this in mind, because I expected to have the running firefight through the long corridor.
Right on.
Oh, we found Major Troth. Hippie, why don't you be Major Troth?
Sure. Tarnak, this is Troth. Your incursion force is meeting with stiffer resistance than expected. We'll need additional reinforcements.
Oh, he's evil.
Shoot him!
This is Major Tarnak over the audio only, and he's annoyed. You were supposed to deal with that Troth.
Very well. I'll send in additional troops as soon as I can spare any. Most of our remaining forces are still fighting the irregulars on the surface. Understood.
Troth's a mole for the Tal Shiar. Didn't Harev say he's the one who is supposed to seal off this passageway to the Imperial compound?
Indeed, that would explain many things.
Now we get to
Hey,
confront.
time to shoot more people.
We got to confront the traitor first.
Ah, Vice Admiral, I don't know what you're doing here, but as you can see, you've arrived just in time.
Indeed we have, just in time to catch you in the act of betrayal. Tell me, Troth, how hard was it to seal off that passageway? Was such a simple task really beyond your capabilities, or did Tarnak merely convince you that it was?
I don't know what it was that possessed me to allow his forces into the tunnel. All I know is that I can't allow you to report it back to Brecca.
It's a trap.
I knew it!
This came one map later than you thought.
Nice using the squad beam in to cover the transition of the NPC combat tag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
did we-
just long enough
Yep.
diversion. Ooh, this
Yep.
is cool. We had one of the Tal Shiar laying dead on the back of a chair.
Commander, something about Troth's demeanor and his tone of voice wasn't right, and he said he didn't know why he betrayed the Resistance. I believe he may have been captured by the Tal Shiar at some point and mentally conditioned to act as their servant, as they once tried to do with you.
If that's true, there's no telling how badly the Resistance has been compromised. So let's call back to mind games there.
I like
Raymond-
it.
Raymond forces in the next room. I believe they're trying to get into the infirmary.
We must
All
stop
right.
them.
So,
For
Who are the-
Yavin.
The rebellion will never die!
so I was just being a little confused about this. Technically, did the Remans ever work with the Tal Shiar?
No.
They were slaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, as slaves, they didn't actually,
Mhm.
want to.
They're basically cannon fodder.
Here is Dr. Lapota.
Thank you, Commander. It's not often I am called upon to defend my patients. And if you hadn't arrived, then when you did, I don't think any of us would have survived.
Detecting more Elachi in the corridor, leading to the command center. And a Tal Shiar strike force poised to assault the command center itself. We'd best hurry if we're going to protect General Brecca. More Elachi.
Burn.
Notice that group play seems to be more difficult in space and less difficult on ground.
Because
that-
ground
It's
mobs,
because ground mobs don't scale.
yeah, ground mobs don't scale up.
Now, I thought they scaled something in like abilities and damage done and hit points, something like that. They don't?
I don't think so. Where's that?
So what you need maybe if you're trying to balance for groups is less space mobs and more ground mobs. Cluster
Yeah.
together.
A lot of LPR.
And
Yeah.
triggering didn't seem to work as intended there. Usually, by the time you go in, those Tal Shiar mobs should have already spawned.
Well, as we know, group play will break a few things.
Mhm.
Hopefully not everything. All right, we meet Colonel Vinag.
I like this alien design a lot, actually.
It's not over the top, but it's,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
different enough.
Maybe there's something else I should post on Starbase UGC in case anyone else wants to use this race.
Good idea.
Yeah.
All clear on this level, General. Lower levels report isolated pockets of fighting, but most of the enemy fortress have been neutralized. We're going to survive this after all. Continue. And it seems we have our friends from the Romulan Republic to thank for that.
Darn right you do.
Good.
Go ahead, Mark.
Admiral, your return was unexpected but quite opportune. I would have preferred death over the fall of the Resistance, but until just minutes ago I had been resigned to both. Then you arrived and fought valiantly to help us stand our ground. Your assistance has given new life to the cause of Nevayan freedom. Okay, switch option.
So we have many options here.
But I assume on the last one
we-
moves us forward.
Yeah, I think we should do this one here. The last time we spoke, I warned you that you might have a traitor in your midst.
I like that one.
So we got to tell him about that he does have a traitor in his midst, or did. It turns out that you did. Tarquinius. Okay, that's me. So my character reports on Troth's betrayal, and that he was likely was brainwashed into it.
If you told me he'd been killed in the fighting, I might have understood. But this? I've known Arvel since he was a little boy in the shanty town. There are few people I would have trusted with my life more than him. But you're saying he was the one who nearly destroyed everything we've been fighting for?
Never underestimate the Tal Shiar's ability to turn your own mind against you. Had they succeeded in capturing you a few minutes ago, they might well have broken your mind as surely as they did Troth's.
Then we might have dodged defeat even more narrowly than I had realized.
All right. You guys want to go through the others or contact the ship?
Let's finish this up.
Okay.
I'm good either way.
Let's see. Even your victory may only buy you death.
I'd say we go with the other one. Maybe, well,
I already clicked.
I already went with that
one. We'll get that one in. Okay, so let's see. I fill Brecca in on everything that has occurred since the last meeting, particularly the discovery of the Tal Shiar's Thaleron weapon, now threatening Neve 4. The moment Hakiv made his threat, I knew your men must be I knew your fight must be going well, but it will all be for naught if he makes good on it.
I'll send everyone I can spare to gather people from the shanty town. These tunnels are deep enough underground that they should provide shelter from their weapons to us and a limited number of refugees.
But the surface will be rendered uninhabitable.
I'm well aware of that, Diala. Even after the radiation subsides, we'll have no crops or livestock for food, fuel, or raw organic material, and no plant life to photosynthesize oxygen. Whatever may remain of our people afterward will have to find a new homeworld, or be scattered across the stars, our way of life gone forever.
We of the Republic know all too well what it is to lose a homeworld. If need be, my government may be willing to allow the Nevayan survivors to settle on Mul Rahan. But for now, my primary objective is to ensure that it never comes to that.
After all that my people have endured for the past 60 years, I loathe the idea that our destiny is now out of our hands. But if we have no choice but to entrust our fate and that of our world's outsiders, I can think of no one better than you.
All right, and the last option is we've had little reliable news on the Resistance since the war broke out.
The organized resistance has continued to survive and protect their people in the shanty towns. But as much as it pains me to admit, it is the irregulars who have taken the lead in the uprising. They fight more for the sake of fighting than out of any love for our world. Undisciplined, untrained, immoral, degenerate, quick to anger, and seemingly always hopped up on Hivarid. Yet they've taken the fight to the Tal Shiar more effectively than I ever imagined they could. It is as though all their character flaws are exactly what has given them the advantage.
Now I remember back from your first mission is that you had sort of the two groups of the Resistance, one of whom was maybe a bit more crazy than the other.
Yeah. And you have to dodge some of them in the next map.
Fun. All right.
Excellent.
Contact your ship. Status report.
Attacking impulses have stopped, Commander, and we're picking up chatter from the blockade ships about a full evacuation of the Imperial compound. That may mean the Tal Shiar are prepared to deploy their satellites.
General, did you catch that?
I did, Diala, or Admiral. Brecca activates your recording device and transmits a brief message on it in Nevayan. He then removes the data chip from the device and hands it to the Admiral. If you would, go to the surface and upload this message to the transmission tower at the edge of the shantytown, then set it to self-repeat indefinitely.
In order to take shelter in the tunnels? Question mark.
Exactly. Even if our world dies, at least some of our people will live. The best of fortune to you, Admiral.
The door leading to the surface exit is just outside this room. The best of fortune to us all.
Anyway, was Dragoon reading this one?
I had hoped Brekka might know something about the Tal Shiar's weapon, Commander, but we're no closer to finding it than when we arrived. We should upload that message and then immediately return to the ship and resume our search from there. That way, even if we're unable to prevent this atrocity, we can at least bear witness to it.
Exit to the surface.
Oh, in case people are wondering, no, I didn't actually use an EV suit. My
I did.
experience with
I didn't
those
really need
stupid
it.
gas drones is that in situations like this, when you can rely on being able to engage them at range, you don't need to worry about it, because that noxious gas thing is something that they need to be within like 10 meters of you to actually affect you.
Yeah, we were killing them pretty quickly.
It's a short range.
Then again, we were on normal difficulty.
Yes, we are.
Well, also the tunnel situation helps with that a lot, because there's a lot you like to run around behind you, but in the tunnel they can't do that. So all they do is run up into your face.
True.
Here we are back on the surface.
The transmission tower is located at the top of the hill in the southwest corner of the city. Unfortunately, I'm also detecting heavy weapons fired at several points between us and the tower. No doubt that the Tal Shiar and their allies still fighting the irregulars. In any case, we're going to have to avoid these skirmishes if we want to reach the tower as quickly as possible. All right.
Avoid combat? In Star Trek Online? Are you mad?
That means less loot.
Maybe I should put my door back on. Hey, real one, not a...
Yeah, we can't hear you much at all, Hippie.
I really don't
Afraid?
know why.
I'm telling you, Skype is evil.
The good old meadow clearing map.
I like
Yep.
it.
So very useful.
Why am I not using my processes?
See, Pax, now you could have some mobs that use Polaroid weapons instead of phasers.
Just
Hey, that
rescan.
explosion went off in my face.
Great, Herogen hunters. Looks like they're preying on one of the locals, but somehow I doubt they'll let us go out about our business in peace either.
Yeah, don't worry about the Trojan. I got them. In case
I'll
anyone's
tell you one-
wondering, I'm using a Mark 13 disruptor pistol.
Should have brought my guy with the Mark 13 epic. Well,
What
not
the
epic,
neighbor
purple.
hovis? Where did all those resistance fighters come from? And how did they just vanish like that?
That's not the half of it. Did you get a good look at them, Commander? They were all identical to the first one. How is that possible?
Perhaps she'll tell us. She who? Oh, she down here.
Oh, wait, I pushed the button.
That's okay. You can hear General Brecca's recording off in the distance, being broadcast on loudspeakers throughout the shantytown.
I just hope Brecca can get word out to the rest of the planet.
As do I. Let's talk to Larna Premesh.
Another character from Part 1.
Yep.
I remember you. You were the one who talked down that mob of regulars who wanted to kill us just before the war broke out.
Nice of you to return the favor. Now that I really need it. Not that I really need it.
How did you...
It's a long story, and not one that I'm... Oh, hell. My cover's blown now anyway, and we are on the same team here, so why not?
Larna suddenly transforms into... You're a Romulan!
Not quite.
Ooh, this is
Half Vulcan, half Betazoid. I'm on assignment here from Starfleet Intelligence. You can just call me Black Snow.
I like
Character from
it.
Ghost of War Part 2.
Another character, Pax?
Yeah, this isn't. Well, this is a character that I introduced in Ghost of War Part 2. So I'm just
So, how did
reusing
you-
her.
How did you fight off all those Hirogen?
The same way I can pass as a Romulan, or as a Nevian. A perceptual alteration, a rare ability inherited from my parents. I can't do mind melds like most Vulcans can, nor can I read minds from a distance like Betazoid, but at short range I can, out to about 20 meters or so, I can do more than just communicate with other minds. I can manipulate their perception, make them ignore me completely, or think I'm someone else, or even that there's more than one of me. That's how I fought off those Hirogen predators, by diverting their attention away from the real me with a bunch of false images. Images that you saw too, because you happen to also be within that 20-meter range.
That sounds like a very dangerous ability to have.
Indeed, Admiral Youngs. Admiral Youngs once remarked that Starfleet was lucky I chose to follow in my parents' footsteps. Otherwise, she said, I would have become a master criminal even the Orion Syndicate would have envied. I'm still not quite sure how serious she was about that.
Starfleet sent you here. Why?
Well, I'm normally assigned to Ritor 3 to gather and report information on political developments in the Imperial capital. Intel diverted me here for the same purposes after getting reports of an impending revolt. The plan had been to extract me once things actually came to blows, but then you found evidence of some Tal Shiar doomsday weapon, and your Republic intelligence passed it along to us. So Admiral Youngs ordered me to stay here and try to learn more about it.
Have you had any success?
Not much more than you had, unfortunately. I did manage to hack the local Tal Shiar database in the compound, but other than the same log entries you found, it contains no information of any kind of weapon of mass destruction. To get that, I'm afraid I'd have to try to either break into the Tal Shiar central database or read the information directly from Major Tarnok's mind. But even my abilities, I doubt, could do either one without arousing suspicion.
I like how the dialogue button options changed here, because the last option changed dramatically after you talked to her a few more times.
Oh yeah, the exit dialogue.
So that it flows more well with what she's already told you.
I have noticed, if people can hear me, I have noticed that a couple of times. I was going to comment on that later, that's really cool.
We can sort of hear you.
All I got out of that was I saw it and I liked it. I couldn't make out the rest.
We have learned much more about the weapon. Much more. Now quickly bring Black Snow up to speed on the Thaleron weapon system.
An orbital Thaleron weapon? That explains a lot. Especially the
Jadarak.
installation.
Jadarak installation? Question mark.
I found no mention of that weapon in Tarnok's database, but I did find numerous references to a Tal Shiar installation located on a remote island in the middle of the Jadarak Ocean on the other side of the planet. It's heavily shielded to prevent anyone from beaming down from orbit. The only way in or out appears to be via Tal Shiar transporter network. That must be the control station for the satellites.
Is there any way we could get inside?
I believe there is, but it won't be easy. We'll have to make our way to the transporter station inside the Imperial compound. It's on the Tal Shiar network and should get us into the facility. I can provide some telepathic cover, but chances are you'll still have to fight your way in there. Needless to say, whatever your plans may be, you're also going to need my help once we're inside. You do have a plan, don't you?
Time's short. I'll have to explain as we go.
Fair enough. Lead on, Commander.
We contact the ship to apprise its officers of the new developments. Good word usage there. And our objective is to go to the transporter station building inside the Imperial compound, which is, if we look at the map, on the other side of that big wall. Sounds like kind of a neat character. Our intelligence friend. When when Delta Rising drops, you can put her in the cool Intel uniform.
Yep.
Good plan. Good plan.
Not to mention
I don't know
the
why I'm stopping to fight those guys.
recent Odyssey variants that were we found out what the Starfleet intelligence standard for.
On Ghosts of War Part 2, I have Black Snow in kind of a, I think it's in the 7 of 9 cat suit. They basically had it a ninja outfit.
Nice. Well, it seems to me that, that new Intel outfit that is coming is sort of a, when you're out on assignment kind of a thing. And if you're back at Starfleet headquarters and you're in Starfleet Intelligence, you'd be wearing the uniform with the black stripe. But, as we all know, we're all sort of free to interpret that however we like.
Now, this is a very good mission for using frosted boots.
Now, you kind of did the same thing here that you did on the previous map, where you sort of go through it backwards from what you did in Part 1, right?
Yeah.
So I remember starting on this side of the city, dropping her telepathic cloak. Black Snow, the real one, suddenly appears beside you.
As humans would say, a piece of cake. 6 to Jadarak Control Facility.
All right, we are
Now you get
beaming
to see
away.
the custom map that I've been going on about for the past couple of months.
This should be good. Is it a sky castle or something that you adapted from
Sky
another
Castle.
map? Sky Castle.
This is my
Those are
first
fun.
time I've ever done a Sky Castle as opposed to just redressing in
Yep.
a ground map.
There's nothing quite like the first time, is there?
Yeah. In fact, the Sky Castle and the post credits map on New Romulus are the only two all new maps in this mission. The others are all reused from parts 1 or 2.
Not a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
Well, don't knock reusing. I mean, it can be
No,
very
absolutely
effective.
Especially when there's a real purpose behind it, like there is this time. So I'm seeing a tweet here from the official Star Trek Online Twitter account. Captains, keep your eyes on our YouTube page for an exciting trailer coming tomorrow.
It's another Delta Rising trailer?
Ooh, trailer.
Well, you remember how people started talking about the Krenim a while back? Well, we haven't seen them yet.
This is true. Maybe
noticed
they're
that.
doing a reveal.
And
Also, there's a chance to win an operations pack if you haven't bought one already. Reply to this post. This is a tweet. Reply to this post with hashtag Delta Rising 10/01-10/13 for your chance to win. I think you probably just need to do the hashtag. I've already bought one, so I'm not going to mess with it.
Yeah. I'm definitely leaning towards buying one. It's one of those things.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
probably just going to buy one myself.
even if I don't use every ship, I think I'll use enough of the ships to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Well,
I've already,
with the way ship traits go, though, you can just, you know,
Use one, get the trade, and then drop it for something else.
I've already taken the plunge and bought it.
Besides, I mean,
I'll
it's
probably
been a
get-
while since I dumped any serious amount of money into the game. And I do play it a lot.
I've already
Yeah.
decided that for the Klingons, their Tier 6 ship is going to be Chavak's new flagship.
I suspect. I mean, we haven't gotten them yet. I think because they want to hold them back a little bit, but we haven't gotten them yet in the Foundry on Tribble. But I suspect that we will get them in the Foundry at least eventually. So there's one or two that I'm probably gonna change up in my missions to use the new T6 ships. All right, here we are in the Tal Shiar facility.
Intruder alert.
This is
Unauthorized
the-
transport detected.
You reverse engineered the Hobus ground map to make this? Cool.
How can that be?
How can
There's
that
no
be?
one on the pad. Curious. The transporter did cycle. I saw the beams myself, but no one ever materialized. It's as though all we beamed over was volume of empty air. Ah, I see your black snow is shielding us here. Transporter must be malfunctioning. I'm taking it offline until we can get repair crews on it.
It's fortunate that Black Snow is able to extend her perceptual cloak around us as well.
Hey, I know you can't see me either, but where I come from, it's impolite to talk about someone in the third person like she's not even there. Especially when that someone is all that's keeping you out of the Tal Shiar's clutches.
Enough. Now that we're here, we need to find the satellite controls.
Okay, can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. As close as we are to those people, even whispering, we just said a whole lot.
Well, assuming that.
However,
Well,
I think it sort of projects into their minds, right?
Yeah. So I mean,
So
if
they yeah.
they,
Sorry,
if,
go
if,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, if she can hypothetically prevent us from being seen, I think she can also prevent us from being heard.
Probably. But then why are we whispering?
Yeah, you could insert a joke about why are we whispering?
It's a matter of volume. It's easier to force someone not to notice something quiet.
Well, and she did say there's only a 20-meter range, so we don't want people down the hall to hear us.
Somebody's gonna have to be the security officer.
Yeah. I concur. We should all stay close together, especially you, Black Snow, as we survey the installation. Performs a brief tricorder scan. The layout appears to be fairly simple. 4 quadrants and a central hub. In addition to the control center, we should also identify the facility's power source in case we need to disable it. There is a doorway just to the right of this transporter pad. We should start by scanning to determine what is beyond it.
I just noticed something that was kind of interesting here, is that the previous security officer things showed Tovin Kev, but this one shows my Borg Riemann.
It's bound to
Well,
be a
the-
little weird with a group.
the NPC dialogues have been acting funny on Romulans for a long time.
Well, they're doubly so because we're in a group, and we technically don't have any bridge officers with us.
Yes. I'm seeing something that is definitely not any of my officers.
Is it a purple alien with green hair?
Nope.
Yeah,
I've been seeing my
whenever
regular bridge officers in my dialogue.
whenever you run it as a group, it just pops up random, and if it can't find one fast enough, it just pulls up an alien.
So, engineering officer, judging by these readings, there is a short corridor leading to the installation's armory and security office, and a lift to the facility's lower levels. The facility's central hub is nearby. That's where we should go next.
Agreed, let's go.
Yeah. Now, in one of my reviews a few weeks ago, I was talking about the sort of connective tissue, the thing that tells me where I need to go and why I need to go there for each objective, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is that, you know, this guy's telling me where I'm at, telling me where I need to go, and telling me why I need to go there.
So, Pax, I will say there is one issue with this map. If you jump,
Okay.
you'll notice it. If you jump, you'll notice it's low gravity.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
baked into this map.
Mm-hmm. This is the map I'm using for my Starbase 1, but that one I don't mind if it's low gravity.
You could probably come up with some sort of fluffed way of explaining it. It's like maybe it's a side effect of the special dampening field they use here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll think of
Or,
something.
or you know, have a little one-off conversation between a couple of Romulans saying, the artificial gravity is acting up. And the other one says, why do we even have artificial gravity? It's like, well, because the commander really missed the gravity from Raytor 3 and he wanted to have it. And now
Or you
it's
could do-
malfunctioning. Go
or you could-
figure.
Or you could do some kind of thing where this base, one of the purposes of this base is gravity experiments, so it can, and the scientists are conducting some kind of experiment that requires a simulated low gravity environment. maybe the satellites need to be prepped in a low gravity environment.
There you go.
Works.
It's the engineering officer whispering, if these readings are accurate, Commander, this entire installation is approximately 30 meters beneath the planet's surface, undoubtedly in order to keep it concealed as completely as possible. Only this central hub and the main transceiver tower are exposed to daylight. Only that force field above our heads is in place to maintain the facility's environmental control.
Why expose the central hub in the first place?
Possibly in order to maximize the effective range of the subspace transceiver tower.
Would this facility be protected against a Thalaron burst from the weapon?
There is no known effective shielding against Thalaron radiation, other than having several meters of solid rock between you and its source. So if the Tal Shiar do fire their weapon, the rest of the facility may be adequately insulated against it, but this hub won't.
That doesn't sound quite right to me because, well, you remember that scene from Nemesis where Data blows up the Thalaron generator? I mean, you know, it clearly had the Thalaron radiation being contained in some sort of energy field.
It
But then
wasn't
again,
really clear what you were seeing. Exactly.
well, it was very similar to the scene with the Thalaron grenade in the Romulan Senate. You see this glowing ball of energy, and then when the when the bubble containing the energy pops, then you have the Thalaron radiation going everywhere.
Well, as we know, I mean, one of the things that we all get to do in Foundry missions is pick and choose exactly what we want to take from
Yeah.
canon and make up the
Yep.
rest.
Also, there is one word fixes that problem. There's no known effective shielding against Thalaron detonations. Because then force fields can hold in the radiation, but they can't.
But once it detonates, nothing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we know enough about how Thalaron radiation works to say one way or another.
I suppose.
So this is, next one is, why expose the central hub in the first place?
We read that one already.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, is the weapon controlled from here? Question mark. We will
We
need to
need to-
examine each bank of consoles individually in order to make that determination. Interact time.
These consoles appear to be for communication with the outside, Commander. There are channels to the Imperial compound in the capital and to Tal Shiar ships and facilities across the Star Empire. There's even a direct line to... Commander, according to this one, there's a large Imperial fleet on its way here, led by Colonel Hakiv himself.
More reinforcements? One more attempt to retake the planet?
Not according to Hakiv's orders. He's telling them to program the weapon to fire on a 1-hour delay before being transported aboard. This must be an evacuation fleet, Commander, one sent by Hakiv to extract the Tal Shiar personnel from the planet before he reduces everything and everyone on the planet to ashes. For all we know, that 1-hour clock may already be ticking down.
Then we must proceed with all alacrity.
Alacrity.
Here's
These
another
consoles
one.
appear to control main power to all Tal Shiar orbital assets, Commander.
So we could just shut everything down from here, including the weapon. Question mark.
If we want to turn this into a suicide mission, then yes, we could. You and I can't keep up this mental cloak indefinitely, and the Tal Shiar would surely put this facility into lockdown the moment they realize anything's amiss with the weapon. We need to find a way to neutralize them before we make any attempt to shut the weapon down.
This one appears to control the shield around the facility. Once we've gained control of the weapon, we could deactivate the shield so that the ship can extract us.
Agreed.
That's good to know.
These consoles appear to monitor communications on the planetary grid, presumably to attempt to track the Nevaean resistance and other dissidents.
Okay. The central hub. Here they are, Commander. The control consoles for the Thalaron satellite weapon.
Oh, can you give me any information about the weapon's design? 8 satellites is deployed in 48-degree intervals in a ring around the planet's equator. One of the satellites acts as a systems master unit through which the entire system is being monitored and controlled from this bank of consoles. The other satellites are all in the serial link to the master, meaning if we gain control of the master, we control the entire system.
What's the current status of the weapon?
It appears to be in standby mode, Commander. It's currently programmed to fire after a 1-hour delay, but the timer hasn't been started yet. That gives us some time, but just how long beyond that 1 hour is anyone's guess.
Suggestions for our next move.
We should continue exploring the installation for now. We need to find some way to create a diversion for the Tal Shiar while we shut down and seize their weapon.
All right. Question is, which way
I'll
do we
just kind
go?
of take you on a quick guided tour so we can move along here.
All right.
I won't.
This is a good
Basically,
look at the map.
This is the cargo bay, or cargo hold, actually. And we've already been in the transporter room, obviously.
The cargo hold, Commander. My tricorder's not picking up anything connected to the satellites in here, though. Mostly replacement parts for various systems and supplies and equipment for the personnel stationed here.
Did you get up to the asset limit on this map?
Not quite.
Some offices. Offices for the facility's senior staff are in this section, as are what appear to be briefing rooms and the officers' mess.
Now I'll just take you where we need to go to continue the mission.
But I like that where you don't necessarily give the person a specific place to go. You kind of let them find it themselves.
Yeah.
Also, you came up with a rather creative way of foiling the people who just simply push V to scan for their next objective.
Yeah.
Because all of these scan the area prompts will draw me towards them until I scan them.
But only one is an actual objective. This is the
facility's main power source, Commander. It appears to be a geothermal tap. It is no surprise that the Talshar was used to power the installation in this manner. Any artificial source would generate an identifiable energy signature, but this one draws its energy directly from the interior of the planet, making it much harder to distinguish.
Yeah, right.
And it's black snow.
There she is.
Hey, she's wearing the same outfit that Loris wears, in a different color.
It's one of the casual robes.
Yeah.
The wraparound.
As I see it, there are two ways we can go about this. The first is old-fashioned brute force. We fight our way into the hub, clear it out, and then keep any Talshar reinforcements occupied while you get to work on those satellites. You better work fast, though. More than a few false images at a time takes a lot of mental effort on my part. I'm not sure how long I can keep it up.
And the second method?
Alternatively, I could take control of the satellites while you hold off the Talshar. Or, to be more precise, I take control of the officer stationed at this satellite control console and get him to do the dirty work for us. If all goes well, we could be in and out before the other Talshar even know what happened.
You can control minds too? You're even more dangerous than I thought.
Not literally control, more like suggestion. All Vulcans have that ability, actually, but it requires such great discipline and focus that few are able to use it effectively. The late Ambassador Spock was the only other Vulcan I know of was ever able to pull it off.
Have you ever attempted this suggestion technique before?
During my senior year at Starfleet Academy. A little secret of mine, actually. There was this Regelian plebe. What was her name again? Oh yes, Helena. Anyway, I tried to plant a suggestion into Helena's mind from time to time, just to see if I could do it. I think I got her in trouble a couple of times, but it was all in good fun. Harmless fun. Well, mostly harmless. So yes, I have done it before. Just not with the fate of 2 billion people and the piece of the Alpha Quadrant riding on its success. I know. No pressure.
So we have two choices here. We can secure the central hub by force, or sneak into the central hub with her assistance.
The first option, there's a puzzle involved.
So sneak into the central hub is no puzzle. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I think we'll go with that one. All right. So we got to power down the shields. Power down the shields and satellites.
And, like usual, shoot anything that moves.
I think I can keep the other Talshar in the hub oblivious to our presence while I use my powers of persuasion on this one here. But you'll have to take care of any new arrivals. I can't afford to have my concentration broken if this is going to work.
We cover her while she influences the Talshar and give her control of Phaedron satellite system, and we then shut down the satellites and shield.
I like how we have like a dozen Talshar just standing here like nothing's happening.
She's a very powerful agent. Oh, good. I picked up an Endorian tuber root. I'm saved.
Oh, yeah,
lucky?
those are always great.
Uh-oh. We've
If
angered
you'd chosen the other option, you'd have a bunch of armies of black snow telegangers, as I call them, guarding all the entrances. And they're the ones fighting off the Tal Shiar.
I like how the Tal Shiar are actually helping us shoot the other Tal Shiar.
Well, now you can avoid that. You can use those neutral mobs.
Yep.
If you don't want them to fight for us. Success! The weapon system has been put into a diagnostic mode. As long as it remains in this mode, it poses no threat to Deve 4. All that remains is lower the installation shield, power the satellites down, and get them beamed aboard the ship to present to our allies. The main power controls for both are in the center island, next to the main transceiver tower.
Oh, so yeah, I used the quantum mortar, which can shoot through obstructions, and that was targeting the NPCs you had behind invisible walls.
Yeah, mortars are fun like that.
How strange.
Line of sight? Who needs it?
Uh-oh. Commander, the controls aren't responding.
What?
Ship to Commander, we have a large Imperial fleet inbound. The lead ship identifies as the RW Leval. Isn't that the Imperial flagship?
That it is.
It is. These controls are useless. Go ahead.
Well, these controls are useless, Commander. The Leviathan must have locked us out remotely. If they regain control of the satellites, they could fire them at any minute. We must return to the ship immediately.
Beam us back. No!
Beam us back.
Run away.
Now. So, Pax,
We had some out of
I take
order
it that the way you have this set up is that if you choose the brute force option, you have to shoot all of the people at the consoles.
Yeah, I have invisible walls guarding them. That's why they weren't shooting at you before.
Yeah.
This.
I noted another interesting thing about quantum mortars is that if you kill somebody behind an invisible wall with a quantum mortar, you're never going to be able to get your loot.
What you could do is since you have the players in the next room, you could use that as cover to swap out the NPCs based on their choice.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So if they choose the brute option, swap out like NPC contacts that you start out with NPC groups. That way you can actually control whether or not they engage the fight or not without the use of invisible walls.
Okay.
The satellites have decloaked, Commander, and sensors show an energy buildup in the tertiary EM band. Their Thaleron emitters have begun to charge.
What's the status in the Imperial fleet?
Most of the fleet is keeping their distance from the planet, Commander. No doubt to stay clear of the irradiation zone. The Leval has begun beaming people up from the surface. They must be the last of the Tal Shiar personnel.
You mean they're leaving the satellites unguarded?
It appears so, Commander, for all the good that does us. It would be easy enough to destroy them one by one, but unless we happen to hit the master satellite first, the Leval could just as easily fire the rest of them immediately in retaliation. Most of the planet would still die, and likely us along with it. Commander, several Imperial squadrons are heading our way.
I'm going to need to pause while I reset up my bridge officers.
Yeah, mine got killed too.
Uh-oh.
So did mine.
We'll hold them off.
Ah, crap.
Yeah, somebody was on hearing all of
Wow, we definitely got a lot of mobs spawning here.
trying to get myself destroyed.
Well, if you were in need of expertise, you'll have a bunch after the end of this mission here.
Okay, I'm back up and running.
It's one of the more annoying persistent bugs. Uh-oh, I'm dead.
Ah, crap.
We'll get them, we just gotta whittle them down. Alright, bring in a fleet support to help us. Which means I'm about to die.
Okay, I finally managed to break contact so I could finish setting up my crew.
I do hope they fix that one of these days.
Science, etc. Okay, got it.
I am not blowing up. So far.
I got splatted because
I got twice.
I only managed to put half of my power tray together, and since I was
Got aggro.
grabbing bridge officers at random, I kind of slotted the wrong ones the first time.
The Leval is hailing us, Commander. Visual.
You're too late, Commander. And so are the Nevians. I control the satellites now. Take a good look at the Savage's world below, in its final moments of life. Once the last of the Tal'Shar are beamed aboard this ship, I will transmit the firing code and reduce this world to ashes.
Science, what are we facing here? Given what we know about Thalaron radiation, Commander, even a weak burst from each satellite distributed across the planet's surface will likely sterilize it in a matter of minutes. And if we get too close, it'll sterilize us as well.
Oh, you didn't worry about the Thalaron radiation, Commander. My fleet can sterilize you just as easily.
The main fleet's powering weapons. Come on. Commander, several more squadrons inbound. The idea is the Republic militia. Their lead ship is hailing us.
Visual.
Commander, my task force is standing by to render whatever assistance you require.
Not that I'm complaining, but shouldn't the fleet be guarding Mulrihan?
Most of the militia fleet arrived at Mulrion after you left, Commander. Between us and our allies, we soon have far more than we needed to secure the home system. So Admiral Carrick organized the surplus into this task force. The timing of our arrival appears to have been quite fortuitous.
You could say that.
Well, if it isn't the traitor's daughter. Now become a traitor in her own right. I can't decide which one of you I'm looking forward to watching die more.
I'd like the how you picked up her backstory for this. That was cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hakiv. No time to trade insults with you right now. We have a planet and a Romulan and a Republic to protect.
For the Nevaeans and for the Republic. Advance! Advance where? Looking at the objectives. Way over there.
Behind it, apparently.
To the north, relatively speaking.
Okay, behind me.
Ah, a respawn point. Good. Oh, that's a lot of ships.
You know, I just suddenly noticed just how hard it is to see my ship, even when it's not close.
I'm glad I bought a new graphics card, because this would be a challenge otherwise.
Yeah, you wanted to test for that.
This'll do it.
I will say. Speaking
you
of
have
things
a
that soak
12
the
kill
graphics card.
You have a 12 kill objective, but you have friendlies, so I'll forgive you. And everything's in one place as well. So did you max out the NPCs on this map here? The NPC group limit?
Close to it, at least.
I say the limit is 50, right?
25.
25 for...
Oh.
25 total.
Yeah. For NPC groups.
And
The sheer amount of plasma torpedoes.
I was gonna say, do you have equal parts? Then you gotta have less friendlies than you do enemies. Then.
Yeah.
Actually managing to stay alive. This one. One little Tavaro left.
What do you mean only one Tavaro? I'm fighting 3 Daredexes.
Oh, hey, there's a whole other part of the battle going on. Hey, sorry, I was just on, my little piece of it. I only saw one guy left. Poor situational awareness. Well, my graphics card is handling this beautifully. So if you're looking to upgrade, I highly recommend the Radeon R9 285.
All right, who was doing Jirok?
I was doing Jirok. That took longer than I would have preferred, Commander. But I see that the elements remain kind to us. Hakiv still hasn't fired his weapon.
May not be much longer now. I'm not picking up any more Romulan life signs in the capital. The Leval must have completed its evacuation. You can see the Leval over there. It wasn't in the battle.
At least now Hakiv might listen to reason, now that all his backup's gone. But your science officer's right. You'd best get to it while there's still time.
Approach and hail Hakiv. He's not going to listen to reason. Come on. It's Hakiv. He's nuts.
Yeah, well, you know.
Oop,
You! Once again, you massacred your own countrymen on behalf of these savages. Just like Jirok, your treason to the Star Empire knows no bounds.
Nor does your depravity, Hakiv. Look around you. The Nevaeans have taken back their world, and the Star Navy has once again been defeated. Dare I say, humiliated by the citizen soldiers of the Republic. Even you can no longer deny the obvious, Hakiv. The Star Empire is dying, and has been ever since Hobus. The only question remaining is how our posterity will remember it. For the love of the elements, don't stain that memory forever by committing mass murder in its name.
If the Empire will not survive, then neither will you, or the Nevaean savages.
Hakiv taps a console. He turns to face the image of Neve 4 on his view screen. We watch too, bracing for the unthinkable horror of what is about to unfold. Seconds pass, yet the horror never comes.
What? That planet should be completely dead by now. Where's the Thalaron burst? Why aren't the satellites responding?
I think I know, Commander. The satellites may be in position, but if my readings are correct, none of them are accurately aimed towards the planet. It's as though their targeting and attitude control systems aren't functioning. Presumably, this has triggered some sort of failsafe protocol to prevent the satellites from discharging their Thalaron radiation randomly into space.
What could have caused these failures?
Actually, I think we did it, Commander. Remember, we had the satellites in diagnostic mode just before Hakiv arrived. That must have disabled their attitude and targeting control systems. And Hakiv never realized this when he locked us out. That's the good news. The bad news is that it'll probably buy us no more than a few minutes until they can reestablish their lock on the planet. Still not enough to destroy them all before he can fire them. Okay, so we have two things here. It says if playing as Federation ally and if playing as a Klingon ally.
Hey, Pax.
Maybe that's not quite hooked up yet.
Yeah.
That's
Feds,
okay.
we're feds.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you can't. We can only be fed if we're playing this mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're playing as Federation ally. 2 more ships approaching at high warp, Commander. It's the Hortog and the Lexington. Incoming transmission from the Lexington. They're hailing the Leval, Commander.
Visual. Pax, did you want to do your character?
Okay, that's right. Imperial Romulan vessel. This is Acting Captain Sarita Oslin of the USS Lexington. Weapons of planetary level destruction are expressly forbidden by interstellar treaty, as is genocide. If you have such a weapon and use it, my crew and I may not be able to stop you. But even so, we will bear witness to your actions, and we will report them to the Federation Council and the President. We'll certainly treat your weapon as an intolerable threat to the Federation and respond accordingly. I suggest you think that over before taking any action we're all going to regret. Oslin out.
Federation and
End
Klingon
transmission.
Federation and Klingon ships. Your people have intervened in Romulan matters more than enough already. We of the Tal Shiar won't let either of you or the Nevians, and certainly not the traitors of the so-called Republic, stand in the way of preserving what remains of our civilization. If that means sacrificing our more troublesome subjects in order to send a message to the rest, then so be it.
Commander, the satellites appear to have re-established their lock on the planet, and now their Thaleron emitters are fully charged. And you're telling us to turn our ship and your camera to view the planet and the closest satellite.
Take a good, hard look at the world below. Watch it as it dies. And then think long and hard before you do anything to visit the same fate upon your own worlds as well.
He taps the console. Report. Commander, the satellites, all of them, just exploded. What about the planet? No Thaleron emissions detected. And no change in lifeform readings either. Evidently, the satellites self-destructed before they could fire. Neve 4 is out of danger, Commander.
Impossible! The satellite telemetry showed nominal readings across the board. If the Thaleron generators were in any danger of overloading...
You miss a good chance for a joke there. You should have him say, inconceivable! Close the channel. The satellite data from our scan does include the satellite debris, Commander. There's a chance it may tell us what went wrong, or from our perspective, what went right. One thing's for sure, the best of fortune certainly was with the Nevians, and us on this day.
I'd say there was a little more than just good luck to do with it, Commander.
Ooh, there's a typo here.
Got an extra T. Explain.
As I told you earlier, the effective range of my abilities is usually around 20 meters. But with the situation as grim as it was a few minutes ago, well, until then it had never occurred to me to try and influence someone I was looking at over a view screen.
You're telling me that you directed Hakiv to destroy his own weapon?
I had no logical reason to expect that it would work. Just a desperate hunch that when you ran out of options. Typically, when I successfully influence someone's perceptions or actions, I get a little cyanic feedback in their minds. Well, imagine my surprise when I got that feedback from Hakiv, and when the satellites blew. After that, I quickly told Hakiv to forget what he had just done. He'd probably figure it out again, eventually, but even then he'll have no way of knowing it was because of me.
So we have you to thank for saving Neve 4.
We all did our part to save the Nevians, Commander. I wouldn't have even stuck around through the rebellion if you hadn't found those log entries, remember? You guys did most of the heavy lifting here. I was just lucky enough to be with you at crunch time.
The Leval cloaks. Commander, the Leval just set course out of the system and cloaked. After over 60 years, the Nevians are finally free of the Star Empire and the Tal Shiar. Another choice for a Federation ally. Captain Oslin is hailing us from the Lexington, Commander. Visual.
Looks like things went as well as we could have hoped, Commander. The Lexington and the Hortog can take it from here. We have relief supplies and medical teams standing by to attend to survivors in the capital, and more on the way to render aid to the rest of the planet.
You and the Klingons working together? Aren't you supposed to be at war? So this takes place before the New Accord, I take it?
Yeah, remember,
Well,
this is a prequel to my other series, Ghosts of War.
Oh, okay. So,
Hakiv is still alive, so there's your...
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting we killed him.
Well, we're both your allies against the Romulan Star Empire, so as long as we're acting in that capacity, for all intents and purposes, we're allies with each other, too. It's not the first time the Federation and the Klingons have joined forces. I have a feeling it won't be the last, either.
We have a Starfleet intelligence operative on board. She'd been trapped on Neve 4 since the rebellion broke out. Once you're done with the relief efforts, I'm sure she would appreciate you bringing her home.
Understood. I'll have guest quarters prepared for her straight away. She can beam aboard whenever she's ready. You and your people have done an excellent job here. I would never have guessed the Republic and the militia would come into their own so quickly. Yet here you are, not only protecting yourselves, but defending another world and its people. Not to mention preventing a full-scale interstellar war in the process. All things considered, I'd say the legacy of Romulus is in good hands. How's that?
Commander Jarek's hailing us now.
Put her through.
Put her through.
The elements have been kind to us today, and to the Nevaeans. The task force will remain in this system for the time being, in case Hakiv is foolish enough to try to return. But we won't be sending anyone to the surface. The Nevaeans just expelled one Romulan occupying force. Somehow I doubt they would be welcoming anything even resembling another one anytime soon.
A prudent decision, Commander.
It seems as though the militia found you fleeing Virenat only yesterday. Yet here you are, not only an exemplary commander in the militia, but now a true hero to our people. The Republic has come a long way in a short time, Commander, and clearly so have you. Jirok out.
The Nevaeans may be out of danger, Commander, but I doubt we've seen the last of Hakiv, or that weapon. Remember, the Tal Shiar still have enough components in storage at Baronix Depot to build many more of those satellites.
Baronix Depot, you say? Guess I'm going to have to look at that.
Flash forward.
Oh boy.
You said something about like an epilogue map. Is this what we're going to?
Yeah, this is what we're getting at. This is the post-credits map is what I call it.
Ah.
Because actually the first thing you do is have the last official dialogue where you end the mission and do your rating and stuff. And after that's done, then you start walking around the map.
You know, I like that one bit of dialogue from Black Snow where she basically says something to the effect of, well, I ran into things that sounded like good ideas, so I tried something at random.
You know, it's funny, towards the end where they were trying to explain...
They call it the indie ploy. It's making it up as you go along.
At the end where they were trying to explain why the satellites exploded, I half expected a bridge officer to pipe up, "Sir, we picked up a Romulan ship at the edge of sensors. It appeared to transmit a signal. According to scans, it was Seela's ship."
That'd be funny to have Seela betray.
Well, no, because I mean...
I'd guess that it in some way was due to something Black Snow did, but I didn't guess what she was going to do.
Well, I just kind of figured it would have been funny if Seela had given the order to self-destruct the satellites, not wanting to start an interstellar war with the Federation where Hakiv could care less.
Seela's a bit more pragmatic.
She is. She's...
Oh, Virenat?
So, what we have here is it says there are no further mission objectives. The remainder of this mission is optional dialogue. After clicking V-End and leaving a rating and comments, you may continue to move around the map and interact with characters as desired. Then click the beam out button on the minimap window to exit the mission at any time. If you wish, you may set a rally point for bridge officers so they don't follow you around. So I think we will go ahead and end the show here, since we actually are about a half hour over our time that we have.
Yeah.
There's no real time limit since we don't put an episode up like this for audio, which the 2-hour limit on SoundCloud is why we do that. So we'll just take a brief minute to share our thoughts on this mission. So what did you guys think?
Pretty good.
I'd say it's a fitting end to the series.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I realized when I was building it, not only did I have a chance to end the series and set up Ghosts of War, but also kind of put a bow on the whole Legacy of Romulus storyline. At least that's what this post-credits map is designed to do, since it takes place after Hakeev gets killed and Sela goes to wherever she got taken.
So it's some good epic battles.
Materialize on one of the new assets that we just got, the
transporter
one of
pad.
the campsites with the transporter room.
So I love the mission. I love the attention to detail. I feel cheated at the end of that. I don't save today. I have nothing to do with it. So I feel a little cheated by that. I love the epic battles. The dialogue is spot on. Everything about it, you're obviously well versed in working culture, and the mission is a super amount of fun. I just feel cheated that Black Snow saves the day, and it almost feels like a hand of God saves the day rather than something that I actually do. With that.
I can barely hear what you're saying.
He was saying that he essentially feels a little bit cheated that it was Black Snow and not the player that solved the thing in the end.
Okay.
Which, that's valid criticism.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because we always say that, sort of the main character of the story is always the player. It personally didn't bother me, so it's more of a a personal taste kind of a thing, I think.
Well, I did try to address that in the closing dialogue. Basically, that's what that part about we all played our part in this.
Yeah.
Right. I hope people can definitely get the other part of what I just said there too, which is you're really well versed in Romulan culture, and this dialogue all hit very spot on. It was really.
Yeah. What he's saying is if you're well versed in Romulan culture, the dialogue is very fitting and very consistent. I don't know. I gave you a 5-star, and I don't do that very much. And I gave you a 5-star, not necessarily because this one mission deserved it, but because the whole series I think deserves it. Because I think it's a very good series.
Great. That is a great compliment coming from you.
Which is why sequels always rate higher than their the first part.
Sometimes, yeah. and you did a good job with sequels, because sometimes the sequels can actually go downhill, but you just kept ramping it up, and I think that was
it helps great. That I had the whole series kind of mapped out, at least at a broad level, right from the start. Which is also what I'm doing with my Klingon trilogy that I'm writing the story for. Twilight of the Gods. Yep.
Good planning definitely helps you when you're doing Foundry missions.
Yep. Well, good planning is always good.
Yeah. Well, I think we will go ahead and end the show there. Thanks, everyone, for joining us on this Foundry mission playthrough. Could you throw up our contact info there, Greendragoon?
Sure thing. If you want to get a hold of us by email, you can reach us at foundryroundtable@live.com. On Twitter, you can find the podcast at Foundry Roundtable. Drogan can be reached at Drogan1701. Markhawkman can be reached at MAR and I can be reached at Greendragoon. HippieJohn?
Yeah, Hippie_John. At Hippie_John.
And Pax?
Oh, yeah. My Twitter handle is the same as my in-game handle, only without the hyphen. So it's just NCC89471, no dash.
All right.
If you have a Fed Romulan character, we highly recommend this mission.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is definitely one of the best Romulan series I've played.
Absolutely.
Admittedly, there aren't a ton of Romulan missions yet.
No,
but-
there's not.
This is the
But-
only series that I know of. I know of a few individual missions.
They say you did tag these with the ROM in brackets.
Yeah.
So if anyone else is making Romulan missions out there, tag it with that, and so they're easy to find.
That's a good
But
question.
for now, we will say goodnight.
Joel
All
and
right.
Truel.
Good night.
Jolan,
Good
true.
night.